Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a person drink to feel free? But the more they drink, the more they lose themselves. Or someone who smokes to relax, but suddenly they can't relax without it? See, nobody wakes up and says, let me destroy my life today. No, it starts with, everybody's doing it. It's just for fun. I can handle it. Until one day, the thing you control starts controlling you. And that's the moment life changes, not because of what you did, but because of what you lost, your peace, your focus, your identity. And that's why this conversation matters. Because what we think is harmless is often what steals the strongest parts of us. Let's talk about why Islam bans alcohol and drugs. And before you think this is about rules, punishment, limitation, no, this is about your worth. Because anything that breaks you, anything that lowers you, anything that steals the greatness in you, God already saw it coming. The first key point is this: your mind is your throne. Your life unfolds from the thoughts you allow, the beliefs you cultivate, the decisions you choose. Every direction you take, every blessing you step into, every storm you overcome, it all begins with the condition of your mind. And anything that clouds your judgment, weakens your focus, or confuses your identity is an attack on the very center of who you are. That's why the prohibition isn't about restriction, it's about protection. Because the one thing you cannot replace once it's damaged is your clarity. You can rebuild money, relationships, careers, but if your mind breaks, everything else collapses. Your mind is the command center where discipline is forged. If you want success, if you want peace, if you want faith that stays strong even when life hits, you need your mind operating at its highest level. But alcohol and drugs don't reduce stress. They reduce your awareness. They don't ease your problems. They lower your defenses. They take your sharpness, your alertness, your intuition, and they dull it. And once your mind gets dull, life stops happening with you and starts happening to you. You stop steering. You just drift. And drifting is how dreams die. And see, the world doesn't care about your mind. The world profits off your weakness. Entire industries are built to make sure you feel just stressed enough, just tired enough, just overwhelmed enough to say, let me escape for a while. But that escape is the trap, because every time you check out mentally, you hand over responsibility for your future. You hand over the wheel. You say, someone else drive my life for me. The problem is life doesn't stop moving while you're numb. Opportunities pass, moments slip. People grow while you remain in place. Your mind is also where your faith is processed. Understanding, reflection, patience, they all require awareness. When your mind is fogged, your connection to God gets blurred. Not because God left, but because you stepped away from your own ability to perceive. Clarity is spiritual currency. You cannot receive guidance if the signal is blocked, and substances block the signal. They create static, noise, interference between you and your purpose. You weren't designed to live disconnected. And here's something people don't talk about. Substances don't just numb pain. They numb ambition. They numb hunger. They numb that inner voice saying, I'm made for more. Before you know it, you're not just calming stress, you're lowering standards. The goals you used to chase start to seem too far. The person you dream to be starts to feel unrealistic. You begin shrinking yourself because the mind that once saw possibility now struggles to see past the moment. That's not relaxation. That's spiritual theft. Your mind is where your future lives before you ever see it in reality. If the enemy can dull your mind, he doesn't need to take your opportunities because you won't recognize them when they show up. That's why this matters, not because someone said don't, but because your destiny is too expensive to cheapen with substances that steal the very thing that makes you powerful, your clarity, your awareness, your ability to see what others can't. Your mind is your throne, guard it. The second key point is this: temporary escape leads to permanent damage. People don't reach for a bottle or a pill because life is perfect. They reach because something inside them feels heavy, unresolved, or overwhelming. But the problem is that the relief is an illusion. It's not healing, it's pause. It's like turning the volume down on an alarm instead of fixing what set the alarm off. The pain doesn't leave, it just waits. The rise, and here's the thing most people don't admit, we don't numb because we're weak. We numb because we're powerful. Because somewhere deep inside we can feel the weight of who we're supposed to be. That potential can feel overwhelming. The responsibilities, the expectations, the sense that I'm meant for more, it's a lot. But the solution is not to silence that calling. The solution is to grow into it. Every time you choose to stay conscious, stay aware, stay grounded, you strengthen the muscles that carry you to your next level. When you numb the pain, you also numb the lessons. Pain teaches, discomfort reveals, pressure clarifies what matters and what doesn't. Without the contrast of struggle, you would never recognize progress. Without difficulty, you would never discover your endurance. But if every time life presses you, you run to escape, you never learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. You end up living life on your knees, always seeking something to dull the reality you were meant to conquer. There is a version of you that only appears when you stay present. The version that thinks clearly, the version that chooses wisely, the version that feels deeply and still stands strong. That version can only be accessed when your mind is awake and your spirit is alert. You cannot meet your highest self while you're in a fog. You cannot rise while you are sedating everything that tries to elevate you. Greatness requires awareness. Your life is not meant to be lived numb. Your journey is not meant to be blurred. Your purpose is not meant to be quieted. The very things you're trying to escape are the things shaping you into the person you prayed to become. You were not built to hide from pressure. You were built to rise through it. The 4th key point is this: your influence is bigger than you think. Whether you realize it or not, your life is always speaking. Your actions, your habits, your discipline, or lack of it, are teaching someone how to live. Someone is watching how you handle pressure. Someone is studying how you deal with stress. Someone is paying attention to what you reach for when life gets heavy. And they will copy it, not because you told them to, but because your example is louder than your words. Influence is not something you choose. Influence is something you have the moment your life intersects with another person. Even if you feel alone, even if you think no one is paying attention, someone is absorbing you. It could be a younger sibling, a child, a friend, a coworker, someone who looks up to you quietly. They may never say it out loud. They may never call you a role model, but they are using you as a template for what's normal, what's acceptable, what's possible. And when you choose substances as your coping mechanism, you normalize escape. You teach them that pain should be avoided instead of faced. You're shaping their character without even knowing it. And here's where it gets deeper. Influence is generational. Habits don't just stay with one person, they get passed down. You're not just making choices for your present self, you're setting patterns for your future family. A child learns how to handle stress long before they ever face it. They learn by watching how the adults around them respond to life. If they grow up seeing escape, they inherit escape. If they grow up seeing resilience, they inherit resilience. One decision from you can rewrite or repeat an entire cycle. Many people underestimate the weight of their presence. They think, it's my life, it affects no one else. But that's not how influence works. When you choose clarity over intoxication, you give others permission to choose clarity too. When you stand strong in your pain, you teach others that strength is possible. When you seek healing instead of distraction, you show others what courage looks like in real time. Your struggle becomes somebody's roadmap. Your influence isn't just about who watches you at your best, it's ABO, who watches you at your breaking point. When you are tired, discouraged, frustrated, overwhelmed, what you choose in those moments becomes your legacy. Because that's when character is revealed, not from your victories, but from how you carry your valleys. And people remember how you stood when standing was hard. You don't have to be perfect to influence greatness. You just have to be intentional. The world doesn't need flawless role models. The world needs honest ones. People who fall and get back up. People who feel pain and choose growth instead of escape. People who live in a way that says, I am responsible not just for my life, but for the lives my life will touch. Influence begins there. The 5th key point is this. Real freedom is control over yourself. A lot of people mistake indulgence for freedom. They say, I can drink whenever I want, I can smoke whenever I feel like it, as if the ability to choose something automatically means you're in control of it. But freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is being able to say no to what wants to control you. If you need something outside yourself to relax, cope, or feel alive, that thing has authority over you. And anything that owns your peace owns your life. See, the world has this narrative that pleasure equals liberation. But what happens when the pleasure fades? What happens when the high wears off? When the buzz disappears? When reality returns? If the only time you feel okay is when your mind is altered, then your peace is rented, not rooted. Peace that depends on a substance is fragile. It breaks easily. It disappears quickly. And it leaves you chasing the next hit, the next drink, the next escape, just to feel normal again. That isn't freedom. That's dependency dressed up as fun. And dependency shapes your identity. You start defining yourself by your cravings, your habits, your cycles. Your decisions stop coming from your purpose and start coming from your impulses. The moment a craving tells you what to do, you've surrendered your power. True power is the ability to choose discipline over desire. To say, I don't answer to my urges, I answer to my mission. When your mission guides you, your life strengthens. When your urges guide you, your life scatters. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is direction. People assume control is about force. But real control is awareness. It's being able to observe your emotions without being ruled by them. It's being able to sit with discomfort without running. It's being able to choose the harder path when you know it leads to a better life. Substances remove that awareness. They mute your intuition. They silence the inner voice that says, this is who you really are. When that voice goes quiet, you lose the guidance system that was designed to lead you toward your purpose. And the thing about purpose is that it requires wholeness, not fragments of you, not pieces of you hidden behind intoxication. Your purpose needs you awake, present, engaged, clear. Clarity isn't just helpful, it's necessary. When your mind is steady, your choices get wiser, your relationships get healthier, your goals become sharper, your confidence grows, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. True freedom is mastering yourself. It's owning your choices, not being owned by them. It's being able to feel pain, face it, and grow from it. Real freedom starts when you stop running from your own life and start leading it. As we step back and take it all in, one thing becomes crystal clear. Every rule, every teaching, every restriction that seems strict at first glance is actually a doorway to freedom, to clarity, to life lived at its fullest potential. When you remove the things that cloud your mind, weaken your body, and distract your soul, you open space for purpose, for vision, for true strength. It's not about limitation. It's about elevation. It's about seeing the bigger picture, understanding the long game, and choosing the path that sets you up for greatness, not temporary pleasure. Life doesn't reward the careless, the distracted, the indulgent. It rewards the disciplined, the mindful, the committed. So take this truth, let it sink into your bones, and let it guide every choice you make. When the world tempts you with shortcuts, remember that the real power, the real freedom comes from self-control, from clarity, from walking a path that serves your mind, your body, and your spirit. You have the chance to live beyond the fog, beyond the confusion, beyond the momentary highs that fade and leave emptiness behind. The choice is yours, but make it boldly, make it consciously, and make it for a life that matters. Because in the end, the highest form of success is not wealth, not status, not fleeting pleasures. It's the mastery of yourself. And when you master yourself, nothing in this world can ever master you. Stand up, step into your power, live clear, live strong, live fully,